We're good to go now. Starting off questions now, we'll start with Dana Green, ABC4. Everybody else go ahead and get in the queue. Thank you.
Hey, Coach, thanks for doing this. Just kind of want to see if you can get more into detail about the practice schedule. You said a week from Friday. Is that going to be enough time? And kind of treat it like a normal training camp, even though it is an abbreviated season. Is that enough time, you think, to get everything ready?
I think so, particularly with the fact that we've had several months where we've been able to get some things done on the field. We haven't been, in any contact situations or anything like that, but at least we've been on the field and doing skill instruction and fundamental and technique work. And so I'm confident that our guys will be adequately prepared. Now, how we play is anybody's best guess, but as far as the preparation time, I think it's more than adequate for what we've had now. I know a lot of schools in the Pac-12 have not had as much opportunity to spend time with their players in the weight room and the meeting room on the field as we have. There's been a handful. I think it's about 50-50. I think about half the schools have been able to do, similar routine to us, and then probably half the schools have had very limited access. So as far as our own situation, we feel like we're in a good spot right now.
Thank you. Okay, next we'll go Josh Newman, Salt Lake Tribune, followed by Patrick Kinahan, 1280 The Zone.
Hi, Kyle. Just to kind of follow up on what Dana said in terms of practice schedule, timetables, things like that, when do you expect to have the quarterback situation kind of straightened out and have at least some real idea of who you would like to start in the opener?
Well, sooner rather than later. Obviously, that would be the sooner it happens, the more ideal for us as far as naming a guy and letting him get all the reps with the ones. But more importantly than that is getting the right guy named. And so it's going to be a three-man race going in. We've got to quickly narrow that down to two. And when I say quickly, within a week, hopefully, I'm not going to pin myself to an exact timetable, but that would be what I would guess going into it. And then after that, a week or so after that, narrow it down to one, and then have a pecking order and be able to divvy out the reps accordingly. But going in, it's going to be Drew Lisk and Cam Rising and Jake Bentley, all three on equal ground and equal footing and getting the same amount of reps until we can get it to two. And then when we get it to one, then like I said, we'll give the majority of the reps to whoever that guy is.
Okay, Patrick Kinahan, followed by Trevor Allen, KSL.
How are you going to handle live hitting and scrimmaging during this fall camp?
That's a great question, because that's something that we haven't done for almost a year. Like I said, first of all, as per NC2A rules, we won't be able to do any hitting the first couple of days of camp. Those are non-padded days. So Friday and Saturday of next week will be non-contact practices. Then the following week, we get to put the uppers on, the shoulder pads for 2 days, and then we go to full gear that fifth day. And so we've got to be smart about how we do it. You don't want to go into the season underprepared. There's a sweet spot that we're going to try to hit. And it's no different this year than any year, other than it's been an extended period of time that we haven't had contact this particular year. But we've got to monitor that closely. We feel like we need to get at least 2 full scrimmages in prior to playing in the first ball game. Those will probably occur on Saturdays, probably 3 weeks out from the game, and then 2 weeks out from the game would be those 2 scrimmages. That's the best indication I can give you right now. And then along with that, during the course, interspersed throughout practices, some live sessions there as well. So those scrimmages won't be the only live work we have, but we've got to make sure we don't overdo it. But you got to make sure you're ready. I mean, if you go into a game not ready to play from a physical standpoint, that's not a good thing.
Trevor Allen, followed by Dirk Facer, Deseret News.
Hey, Coach, can you hear me?
I got you. Yes, sir.
So what has the last week or so been like for you and your coaching staff after the announcement and then trying to get ready for camp?
Well, it's been business as usual. We obviously we're excited, as I mentioned in the opening statement, that we have some direction now, and we'll have even more clarity on Saturday when we get the exact schedule and who we're playing in what order. But we've been going at it for several months now. What we did is we gave the players about 4 days off, to kind of rejuvenate themselves and get ready. There's a fine line there of diminishing returns when you work too hard too long. And so we feel like they're coming back ready to get back on the field tomorrow. And we'll go tomorrow and Saturday, and then we'll go a couple times next week prior to the starting of fall camp. And then, of course, when fall camp starts, it becomes pretty regular. We're on the field every day. But it's, we're excited to get going, and our coaches are excited, and we're really looking forward to Saturday when we get the exact schedule put in front of us and really start game planning and scouting the opponent and that type of thing.
Dirk Facer, followed by David James, KUTV and 1280 The Zone.
Hey, Kyle, I'm curious, do you have the same objectives now that you had going into spring, or is this crazy summer and the fact you've been able to do some things kind of changed what you're going into camp, what the main objectives are? And then also, what are the main objectives?
Say that 3 times fast.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, we have the same objectives as we had in spring, as far as probably the top priority is getting a quarterback named and getting that thing sorted out. Close second is the secondary. We have 5 brand new faces back there as far as the guys that are going to be playing. We lost the entire secondary, and that's a complete rebuild, and that's obviously a critical aspect of your defensive structure, is being able to get that secondary together. But we do have a lot of positive things going for us. I mean, our offensive line, we feel, is going to be as talented and as deep as it ever has been, and the wide receivers and tight ends as well. We've got to get a running back named. We've got 3 or 4 candidates to be the lead running back, and right now we don't know who that's going to be. Defensive line, we got some guys to replace, but we've got some really good guys in the program coming up through the ranks, so we got a pretty good idea who those replacements are going to be. And then linebacker, we got to find guys to play alongside Devin Lloyd, because we lost Francis and who was so effective for us last year. So we got a whole laundry list of things that we got to get accomplished, but the headliner would be the quarterback and the secondary, in my opinion.
David James, and then Josh Furlong, KSL.
So, Kyle, you've got stuff to worry about off the field you never had to worry about before. I'm wondering how much you've been able to help guys organize their lives so that your players are as close to 100% online as possible, so they're not exposed in classrooms, and how much you've been able to move guys maybe into their own living space or minimize roommates so you have less issue with contact tracing. Have you been spending a lot of time on that, and how has it played out?
Yes, we have, and I think our medical staff here has done as good a job as could possibly have been done, getting that all the protocols put in place and the testing structure, and I think we're probably one of the better schools in the country. I don't have any data to back that up, but as far as the positive tests for COVID have been way down, and we've I think we've done an outstanding job with that. And you're right, it's you got to consider everything, factor everything in: who the guys live with, who they're around, who they eat with, where their locker is, where they sit in the position meeting room. I mean, it's all got to be choreographed as best you can. Also, on top of that, these guys have a lot more free time than they've ever had with online classes and not being tied to a structure and a routine of when you got to show up for class and that type of thing. There's a lot more free time, and you got to make sure that they handle that the right way and put themselves in good situations and stay out of bad situations. Not only with COVID, but with everything else that's out there. And so I think our guys have handled themselves very well. We're not perfect, but I think we've done a good job, and it's been a challenge because, like you said, these are things that we've never had to deal with before, and at least not to this extent. And I think we've handled it about as well as we could have so far.
Josh Furlong, then Josh Newman.
Hey, Kyle, with obviously not having spring and then a delayed start to the season, is there any differences in how you will have to approach a fall camp than you probably have traditionally had to, considering that you just haven't gotten in those reps and the install hasn't necessarily been kind of what your general regiment has been?
Yeah, we've had a lot of time in meetings to install things, but installing them in meetings and getting them on the field and repped is there's 2 different things, and so we've got to we've got to make sure that, we, we don't give them too much. I mean, you gotta be smart with your game plans and not overload them. But, I think that we've, done as good a job as we can to this point. Fall camp will be a little different. Typically fall camp, you get the guys, from early in the morning till late at night. This is not going to be that way. It's going to be 20 hours a week. Most likely, I don't think they finalized that exactly yet, but with school and other things going on, typically when you got fall camp, there's nothing but fall camp going on. But right now we're in school, and so it's going to be more of a glorified in-season routine where we practice in the afternoon, practice and meet in the afternoons, and really only have them from about 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Whereas in fall camp, it's a you completely the whole day is completely dedicated to football, meetings, lifting, and all that type of stuff. So it'll be abbreviated, but the time that we've had leading in is more extensive than what we would have had in a traditional fall camp. Because in the summertime, you only have 2 hours of meeting time with them, and the 6 hours, you get 8 hours a week in the summer leading into fall camp. 6 of those hours dedicated to lifting and conditioning, 2 of those hours dedicated to meetings. And so we've far exceeded that now. So we're way ahead, at least mentally, from right now going into this fall camp is what we'll call it, even though it's not truly a fall camp, than we would have been for a typical summer going into a typical fall camp. So it's been give and take a little bit.
Josh Newman, then Chris Kimrani, The Athletic.
The Pac-12 obviously decided to move in lockstep with everybody starting the weekend of November 6th, but there had been some talk of, some programs wanted to start earlier, potentially on Halloween. Had you wanted to start on Halloween, if not earlier, if you had been able to?
Sooner the better for us, because like I said, we've had a good dose of football, although not contact, as I've said several times now, but we feel like we were on track and in a good enough place that we could have certainly started the 31st. But, I know there are some schools that were lobbying for the 14th. And so I think they hit that happy medium with the 7th. And, a team, maybe 2 teams will start on Friday night, the 6th, probably just one game. 2 teams, one ball game on the 6th, and then the rest of us will start on the 7th. But yeah, to answer your question, we would have been thrilled to be able to play a week sooner than that. We could probably even play 2 weeks sooner than that, but not everybody was in that same boat.
Chris Camrani, then Dana Green.
You got me, Kyle?
Gotcha. Yes, sir.
I'm wondering from your standpoint, how has everything that's transpired so far in 2020 changed the way what your job title is, and how you've managed to go with the flow? And football coaches are creatures of habit. They like things the way they are. I'm wondering how you've managed to get through the day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month so far.
Yeah, it's been very challenging because it's all uncharted territory. We've never been through anything like this, not even remotely. And so it's been challenging, how you structure the time that you're allotted and what you do with that time. And then, and not only football, recruiting is so much different. I mean, typically we'd be immersed in unofficial visits and official visits and going out and getting on the road a little bit. I mean, there's so much has changed in that world as well. And so we've had to adapt and adjust just like everybody else. The vast majority of recruiting is on Zoom now and phone calls, because obviously there can be no face-to-face contact. And so it's not just the football aspect of it, but the recruiting was a big departure from the norm. And that's going to be the case right now. It's shut down all the way till January 1, and then it'll be determined at that point whether or not we can open it back up. But and I feel real bad for the recruits, the seniors. A lot of these guys didn't have a chance and will not have a chance to visit any campuses, and they have to make their decision based on a Zoom tour and haven't had a chance to have coaches get in front of them face to face. And so it's really unfortunate for this class coming up that they're going to have to make these decisions on, because it's probably the most important decisions in their lives to this point in time for most of them, is where they're going to attend college and go to and play football. And to be able to, or to have to do that without setting foot on the campus that they're going to attend or meeting a coach face to face. And, that's something that, is unfortunate. But anyway, things are the way they are. And so we just proceed and make the best of it.
Coach, as far as the schedule goes, Pac-12 obviously 7-game schedule, 6 essentially to determine who's going to play in the Pac-12 championship game. What do you think of that? Or as you always like to say, just it is what it is.
I hate it is what it is. You know that, but it's first of all, there's no room for, with the later start, there's no room for any flexibility where if a game gets canceled, there's no way to make it up. And so that's best case scenario is that we're going to get 6 games plus a 7th, including the championship, and everyone that doesn't play in the championship will play that, that following day. I think it's the 19th. So I think the 18th is the championship, and the 7th game for everybody else will be on the 19th. But, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. We'll be elated if we get all 7 games in. I think that will be fantastic. I mean, I don't know if that's realistic, with the way things are, and they're in the process right now. My understanding is of drafting the guidelines of what you need to be able to play a game, X amount of offensive linemen, X amount of quarterbacks available, and so forth. Otherwise, the game needs to be, just canceled. And so if the entire league is able to get all the games in, that will be phenomenal, but we'll have to see what happens. But it's better than not playing. I can tell you that. It's better than doing nothing at all.
Okay, we'll have time for just 3 more. We're going to go Trevor Allen, Jake Hatch, and then finish with Patrick Kinahan.
Coach, since we last talked, it's been a little bit, but the rosters that have been changed, has there been a lot of changes going on as far as guys moving to different positions and potentially even leaving the program?
Nobody, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, moving to different positions, where Taniela Pututau was scheduled to be a defender on the defensive side of the ball. He's been taking some reps at tight end just to see how he looks over there. We've got some guys that are working through some situations on the roster that are not with us currently, but hope to rejoin us. And I'm not going to go into names or who those guys are, but just working through some personal situations. But as far as anybody out and out transferring or out and out leaving the program, or other than Taniela making a position change, no one comes to mind right now.
Okay, Jake Hatch, and then Patrick Kinahan.
Kyle, we've been talking with Mark Harlan. He's talked about the fact that furloughs are ongoing with the athletic department, but it will change once the schedule is announced by the Pac-12 for you guys. How have the furloughs affected your program so far, and do you expect them to continue to affect you throughout the season? So far, very minimal effect. We structured the schedule to account for those once we knew those were going to be in play. Now we do have to modify a little bit, now that the season's going to be upon us, and coaches don't have any days off. There is no days off. And so we'll have to move those furlough dates to sometime in December. But we've been able to manage with really no disruption. And, here in football, at least speaking for us, we're happy to do our part. And, it's a big deficit that we're looking at. And so we're going to do what we can do to help the cause. And there's been no complaints, no ill feelings, nothing negative coming out of it. I mean, it's just something that we need to do and need to do to help the program and the department.
Okay, our final question for Coach Whittingham before we shift to the student athletes will come from Patrick Kinahan.
So I'm tempted to ask you, with no fans, will you take on the role of the crazy lady? But I won't. I'll ask you. You spoke of how you're further along mentally. How about with all the lifting and running? Are you further along physically?
Yes, we are. That's a good point. I didn't mention that. And we've been in the weight room, just making exceptional gains in there. And, we test our guys through every cycle. We have, 5, 6, 7 week cycles, depending on what the strength coach has set up. And I think it was 90% plus of our guys hit PRs in the lifts that we tested, which, personal best, personal records in the lifts that were tested. And so we have made significant gains in the weight room. And that's been, if there is positives to come out of this, it's that we've had the opportunity that we've never had before to put two lifting cycles together, the summer cycle, and then carry right into the fall and just continue to build on that, where typically we would have gone into an in-season maintenance type routine. We've been able to continue to make gains because of the extra time that we've had to spend in the weight room. Good point.
All right. Thank you very much, Coach. We appreciate your time today.
Okay, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. For all the media on the call, go ahead and stay on. We're pleased that we'll have Devin, Lloyd, and Brant Kuithe join us. We're going to start with Devin. We'll go for about 10 minutes, as long as questions are still waiting to be asked, and then we'll shift over to Brant Kuithe. So I'll go by the raised hands in the queue. We'll start with Josh Furlong from KSL, then we'll go to Steve Bartle, Ute Zone. Devin, if you're good to go, we'll go ahead with the first question from Josh.
Hey, Devin, obviously this summer there is a lot of things going on, not just related to COVID, but with protests and other things that way. Can you speak to kind of a little how your team has obviously been vocal about ending racism or just being able to make sure that there's equality? What is done for you, and kind of speak personally to that?
Well, I think first off, my team and myself have just tried to use our platform, try to use our voices for the better good. We want to get out and basically speak on how we feel, whether it has to do with equality, racism, domestic or police brutality, like just anything. We feel that now is the time just for our voices to be heard as student athletes and use our platform for what is right. That was the biggest thing. So we actually got together as a group, and really it was a mutual thing between all the guys on the team. But we just wanted to get out and make a stand. So we actually planned a march at the state capitol, and that was just a way to get out there and opposed to just tweeting on social media and doing things online. We wanted to take action and actually take a stand. So that was our way of just exercising, our voices and trying to do what's right, just trying to do the right thing, as a student athlete.
Okay, we'll go with Steve Bartle from Ute Zone, followed by Trevor Allen, KSL.
Hey, Devin. Just wanted to get your thoughts on finding out that you're going to be playing football last week. What was it like for you and for the rest of your teammates to find out that you were going to have a fall 2020 season?
Yeah, it was obviously exciting. All the uncertainty within the last few months has just been, it's just, gotten everybody really anxious, to get out and play, just get out and just do what we love to do. Everyone is, here because we love the game of football and we want to play the game of football. So obviously, everyone was ecstatic when we found out that we were going to be able to play only 7 games. Some other conferences got 10 games, but at the end of the day, it's 7 more than, 7 is better than nothing. So, we're blessed for that opportunity, and we're just all excited and looking forward to those games.
Trevor Allen, KSL, to be followed by Josh Newman, Salt Lake Tribune.
Devin, so what led you to change your number to 0?
I kind of just wanted to switch it up. It was no specific reason, but I knew at the end of last season I kind of wanted to get away from 20. Nothing wrong with the number. I just wanted to switch it up and get a new feel. Feel like a kind of a new player, so you could look at it that way. Yeah.
Josh Newman, followed by Mike Sorensen, Deseret News.
Hey, Devin. It's been a long time since you guys have been in pads and going full contact. Now that you're getting ready to do that again, are you guys at all concerned about, doing that again for the first time with the full pads and the hitting and just the physicality that comes with the sport?
Of course not. We play football because we love that. That's the game that's a part of the game that, that's why we play football. So like I said earlier, it's more just anxious, we're just ready to get out and, get in those pads and, get them popping and get ready to, play. That's why we play, because we love the game and we love the physicality. So more anxious than, nervous.
Okay, we'll go to Mike Sorensen and then Dana Green, ABC4.
Yeah, Devin, most college teams have had a problem with COVID cases this summer, and I just wondered how much of an issue it's been for you guys to and your teammates to try to avoid that, and what concerns do you have with that going forward?
Well, I would say that we've probably, for sure, I think we've done the best at that in the pack and probably in the nation. It starts with our staff. I think all of our athletic personnel have done a great job with complying to all the rules and enforcing them. And then it's just a testament to the team on how well they've just taken everything seriously, wearing our masks everywhere, keeping our hands sanitized, doing the tests, just doing everything that you're supposed to do the right way. I think, everyone in the building has done a great job, and that's why we haven't really had an outbreak at all. And cases have been very minimal. Quarantines have been very minimal. I think we've handled it about as good as you could handle it. And that's just a testament to everybody within the building.
Okay, Dana Green, followed by Dirk Facer, Deseret News.
Hey, Devin, you guys lost a lot of players to the NFL on that defensive side of the ball from last year, and you're one of the leaders now. You were a first-time starter last year. Now you're definitely one of the leaders on this defense. How do you think this young defense is going to pick up the slack, and can you maintain that level that you had the last few years?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, we lost a lot of players because we have great coaches. We have players that buy in, and we have great coaches. And I mean, for us, it's not a matter of losing guys. It's just a matter of reloading. We have a lot of talent in the secondary. We have a lot of guys who have played in the front seven. We have guys all over who have playing experience. And yes, we only have 2 returning starters from last year, but at the same time, we got a lot of talent, a lot of guys who are hungry. And, I don't see why we couldn't do exactly what we did last year, except finish it this time. But I think we have the guys, we have the coaches. It's just all about executing at the end of the day, because there was questions about, us last year, even just me and Francis's backers, it all comes down to, you have to prove it in season. You can speculate all off season, you can, be nervous all off season, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, you have to prove your worth. And, that's what we plan to do fully. So I have complete confidence in the guys coming in and stepping up in those roles. And like I said, we're just anxious to get out there.
Okay, next we'll go to Dirk Facer, and we have time for a couple more. So if anybody wants to raise your hand, let us know you want to ask a question.
Hey, Devin, I was hoping we could get a little more specific. With only 2 returning starters on defense, what have you done in the offseason during this crazy offseason to try to bring these guys up to speed so that maybe when camp starts, it's not like the start of spring ball? Do you feel like there's some progress that was made, and did you guys do some things to make up for that lost ground a little bit?
Yeah, there was definitely significant progress, and you'll see, I feel one of the things that we're going to use to our strength this year is, first of all, mental toughness, but our smartness. I think this defense is going to be extremely cerebral on the field this year because of the inability to get on the field and, work technical things, work technique and fundamentals. We've been in the film room. So every position you'll see in the secondary, front seven, it's just guys have gotten in the film room tremendously. They've done hours and hours and hours of film, and then just making up for lost time. As Coach Witt mentioned earlier, we're getting stronger. We're a lot stronger. 90% of the guys hit PRs, so we're stronger, we're smarter. And, that is going to hopefully be our edge in terms of lack of experience. So that's what we mainly focused on this offseason.
Okay, we'll have our last 3 come from Josh Newman, Salt Lake Tribune, Trevor Allen, and Josh Furlong, KSL.
Devin, with all the uncertainty, we've seen a pretty good amount of guys across the country opt out in favor of maybe preparing for the NFL draft. During all the uncertainty, spring, summer, did you ever consider opting out?
No, I'm a football player. I love the game. I have no reason to opt out. This is what I love to do, and I want to be there for my teams when we lift up that Pac-12 championship trophy. So I had no plans on opting out or leaving at all.
Trevor Allen, then Josh Furlong.
So when they announced the 7-game schedule, I know as a player you want to play as many games as possible, but are you okay with 7 games considering what you had, a couple of weeks ago, which wasn't any games?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, 7 is better than nothing, and so I'd much rather be playing 7 and contending for a Pac-12 championship and a national championship than sitting at home and waiting until next year. So, like I said, I'm blessed that we have the opportunity to play those games, and we're going to take full advantage of them.
Okay, our final question for Devin will come from Josh Furlong, and we will move to Brant.
Devin obviously is one of the most experienced players on the defensive side of the ball. What does that do for you as maybe a leader on that side to be able to help make sure that you can not lose a step from last year? Obviously, with the strength and the smartness that you've talked about, like where can you go as a leader from there?
Yeah, I just think the experience helps me relay the message, I guess you would say, to other players, in certain situations, just helping guys understand how to handle certain situations in the game, letting them understand that, even though you may not have played, college football, you've been playing football your whole life, just giving them that connection, knowing that I have played and I know what it's like, and just relaying any questions that they may have or concerns they may have to them, and just relaying that to them, and consoling them, I guess.
Okay, thank you. Really appreciate your time today, Devin. Thanks a lot.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, Brant, thank you for joining us. We have Brant Kuithe. We'll go ahead and start with questions now, starting with Trevor Allen from KSL.
Brant, when they announced you guys were going to be having a season, I know it's been kind of a whirlwind where it's been changing constantly. What was your thoughts when they finally said you guys are going to play a 7-game schedule coming up in about a month and a half or so?
It was a great feeling just knowing that we could just get some games in just for experience, and this year doesn't even count. So I think it's more just getting guys experience, and it was a great feeling that since we didn't have any games, just us just being here, not really doing much, didn't really give us much motivation. But once they announced the 7 games, I think a lot of us guys that kind of felt down got our energy back up, and we're ready to go.
Okay, next we'll go to Dana Green, ABC4.
Hey, Brant. You've had a chance to work with your teammates on a limited basis there for a few weeks. Can you just kind of give us an analysis of how the quarterbacks look? Because you're kind of, developing new chemistry with these guys. Obviously, you had Cam in practice last year, but how have those guys looked?
They look great. Jake's moving. Best I've seen him move, and Cam's just doing well. It's just going to be a battle for who starts at the end of the day, but I think it's going to be a good thing.
Okay, we'll go to Josh Furlong, KSL, to be followed by Chris Camrani from The Athletic.
Brant, you obviously did a lot of things as a tight end last year that Utah hasn't seen for some time. You've got some athleticism and you can do it, what you need to do on the line. But where do you want to take that position next year, especially as, you have a new quarterback and you can kind of maybe do some different things that you haven't done?
Yeah, overall, I just want to get better in a lot of aspects, blocking wise, because last year at the beginning of the season, I didn't start off well, but I finished pretty strong. But just improve blocking and just my overall mechanics, just route running and catching the ball, because I had a few drops last year. But I just want to just give them the offense a little bit more and just trying to see what I can do there.
Chris Camrani from The Athletic, followed by Dirk Facer, Deseret News.
Brant, how do you expect this year's offense to be different from last year's?
I don't really expect to be much different. I mean, we don't have Zach, but we still have a lot of good running backs. So I don't think it's going to be much different. We still have the same scheme. Still have a lot of guys coming back. So I just don't really expect it to change much.
Dirk Facer, Deseret News, followed by David James, KUTV in 1280 The Zone.
Kind of along the same lines, can you just talk about the fact that you guys are getting a new quarterback, a new starting running back, new left tackle? A lot's been made about the defense having some holes, but you got some pretty significant position groups that need to be filled. And could you talk about that and then talk about Did you ever fear that Jake Bentley, if this had extended on with the virus and that, would have opted to maybe not play this year?
No, I don't think so. Just a guy like him, he's a competitor, so I don't think he was even thinking about opting out. And as far as the tackling, our running backs have a lot of good amount of experience, but I just don't expect them to be really delayed. They're really good, and anybody that's coming in at tackle is going to be great. So I just don't expect to be much of a challenge. It's just trying to get some of the guys that don't have much experience more experience.
And do you think you made up for a lot of this lost ground during this weird time?
Somewhat. We just haven't got to hit really much, but I think getting in the film room really helped a lot of guys just get the scheme down, and the guys that don't really know much of the playbook just help them get that intact before the season starts. It really helps that.
Thank you.
David James, followed by Mike Sorensen, Deseret News.
So how much film have you watched? Were you a film junkie before? Are you sick of it now? Have you gotten into it? Do you watch other college and NFL games because you've seen all of your own stuff? How does that work? Since that seems, according to Kyle, that's been what you guys have spent a lot of time on.
Yeah, just getting in the film room as much as possible, just learning different schemes and just learning how we can get an advantage over somebody else. And been watching a lot of college football because we haven't really been playing much. So it's great to just watch and see the different types of players and just see what they're doing and see what works and trying to implement it into my game also.
Mike Sorensen, followed by Dana Green, ABC4.
Yeah. How hard has it been for you to stay healthy and avoid the virus this summer? And just how confident are you that your team can stay healthy and play a whole season coming up?
Hasn't been really hard, just doing what the team doctors say and trainers and just socially distance and wear a mask and just do the things we really need to do. It kind of helps that class is mostly online, so we're not really having to interact with a lot of people, go on campus, just really the guys around the facility. And we get tested often, so there's really no chance of us getting it. And if a guy does get it, then it's maybe just like one guy. It's not much.
Dana Green, ABC4.
Brant, it's such an advantage to play in front of 50,000 screaming fans at Rice Eccles. You're a guy that seems like that feeds off the energy of the crowd. I mean, you've seen it on TV, but what do you think it's going to be like playing in empty stadiums?
It's just going to feel like practice, honestly. It's going to feel weird at first, not having anybody there. Just kind of feels like you're just scrimmaging the other team. But I think once the game starts and you just get that adrenaline going, it's not going to really make much of a difference.
Okay. Any other questions for Brant before we let you get on with your day, Brant? All right. We really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Brant. Thanks to all of you in the media for joining us today for our press conference.